And for the spirit of transparency, I think that leftists are just pissed for no good reason. Like they go, oh, Musk is collecting all these people's information. It's like unelected officials at the DMV are collecting my information. The unelected officials at the Social Security office are collecting my information. Like so many government offices collect my information by people who I definitely didn't elect, and neither did Destiny. They're totally fine with that. But for some reason with these guys, no, that's too much.
That's a good point.
I mean, the reason... Well,
that's
no,
a good point,
The reason why...
Andrew Wilson, who's becoming one of my favorite debaters when it comes to the right wing, clashed with Destiny on the Piers Morgan Uncensored show. Obviously, woke Destiny coming here to try and go after Donald Trump and Elon Musk and that whole regime. And then Andrew Wilson here to just spit the facts and just put Destiny in his place and basically just stop all the cope coming from Destiny's mouth. It's insane to me how much cope and mental gymnastics these people are starting to play, like Destiny, David Pakman, these sorts of people who are playing into the left-wing echo chamber and just providing that safe space for those lefties that don't want to face the truth that people like Andrew Wilson are actually espousing. But anyway, let's get into this clip here on Piers Morgan Uncensored, where Andrew Wilson absolutely humiliates Destiny for these unhinged takes here live on TV.
So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. I'm not sure we should be sending $50 million worth of condoms to anywhere, frankly. I'm not sure that's something Americans would be really excited about. And that is really an enormous number of condoms, if you think about it.
Destiny, what did you make of that? Obviously, it's very unusual. You've got the richest man in America standing next to the President of the United States in the Oval Office by the Resolute desk. He's got his kid with him who's picking his nose. It's all a bit random and weird and surreal. However, I did watch it all, and I kept thinking to myself, if I was an average American watching this, hearing what Elon Musk is doing to federal overspending, I'd be cheering him on. I'd be all in favor of this.
Yeah, unfortunately, the average American, I guess, or the average person just has no idea how government works or functions. And I guess weird and surreal is just the way to describe now, or illegal, I guess, is the way to describe that this administration has decided to address programs that they don't like. If you want to cut down on waste, fraud, and abuse, I don't think anybody would necessarily have a problem with it, but they keep saying waste, fraud, and abuse when what they mean is programs that I don't like. And they've already taken several almost certainly illegal actions in trying to basically unilaterally dismantle organizations like USAID that have been independently authorized by Congress that the president doesn't have the ability to do, to dismantle unilaterally. And now you've seen TROs coming out from the judiciary that's telling him, hey, you have to stop. There was the one on the federal spending freeze that not only was a TRO issued telling him that you have to stop freezing these funds. Now another judge has said you are violating the TRO. You need to stop this immediately. So I guess if you don't care about the legality or the process and procedure or anything having to do with the structure of government, I guess it's a cool thing. But if you care about like following the law or the rules or maintaining your government, then it would probably be a horrific thing. But
Andrew?
Yeah, you got this idea. I've heard Destiny kind of talk about this before when he's saying, okay, these are illegal actions and possibly the court's not going to be able to catch up with these illegal actions. And so Trump is just going to basically continue with what he's considering to be illegal actions. Thing is like people forget about things like jury nullification or like the idea that you can have laws. And even if you're the enforcer of the laws, in this case, the executive branch, you don't actually have to enforce these things. There's no, like you're put there for a reason, just like a jury can nullify a law by saying, even though the law says you're guilty, I can still come back with a not guilty verdict. What's happening here is we don't even know what the waste, fraud, and abuse is. And so there's an audit going on, and this is exactly what Musk is doing. They're trying to audit this and get it in front of the attention of the American people to say, look, we don't want condoms for the Taliban. That was 15 million. Promotion of atheism in Nepal for 500,000. French LGBTQ programs in West and Central Africa for $1 million, right? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. $200 million 20 days in. I think that the American people do deserve to know that. And I don't think that they would, that this would be front and center or a thing we would be focusing on absent this audit. And
I 100% agree with Andrew Wilson, as you could have probably guessed, because it is just common sense coming out of his mouth. And it's the opposite of that coming out of Destiny's mouth. It's just coping and seething coming from Destiny. But the fact that Destiny said, and I'm not the biggest Elon Musk simp at all. You guys know, and you get very pissed at me every time I say, I don't fully trust Elon Musk. Not even close to it. I don't. But, I mean, regardless of that, what they're doing with Doge, and I don't love the name either, but it is what it is. What they're doing with Doge and the auditing that they're doing and the things that they're finding is good. And if you say otherwise, you are an enemy of America. If you don't want American, government to be the most efficient possible and American tax dollars to be spent in the proper ways, you're an enemy of America, like it's straight up. And Destiny made the point that a lot of leftists have been making, a lot of people in the woke cult have been making on shows like Piers Morgan and on their own shows, where he's saying that Elon Musk and Doge and Donald Trump, they're not going after, waste and government inefficiencies and things like that to defund them. They're trying to defund things that they just don't like inside of the government. And while that might be true, the reason why they don't like them isn't just because they don't like someone who's the head of the department or something like that. They don't like it because it's a waste, because it's an inefficiency, because it's a waste of American tax dollars. That's why they don't like them. So yeah, it might also be the case that Elon Musk and Donald Trump don't like these organizations and don't like these agencies, but they don't like them because they are a waste, because they're wasting American tax dollars. That's why they don't like them. So it's not mutually exclusive, right? They can both exist. They can both exist at the same time. Let's see what else Andrew Wilson has to say here to this idiot.
I think that more of these government agencies should be audited. Now, Destiny can he can say, well, technically, due to the rule of law, we have judges who are making these impositions and this and that. It's like, yeah, that's fine, but that's all part of the process too. It's all part of the process of law. The process of law is playing out exactly like it should. Judges are supposed to create injunctions if something illegal is going on, et cetera, et cetera. There's nothing wrong, though, with auditing these places. And for the spirit of transparency, I think that leftists are just pissed for no good reason. Like they go, oh, Musk is collecting all these people's information. It's like unelected officials at the DMV are collecting my information. The unelected officials at the Social Security office are collecting my information. Like so many government offices collect my information by people who I definitely didn't elect, and neither did Destiny. They're totally fine with that. But for some reason with these guys, no, that's too much.
That's a good point.
I mean, the reason, well,
that's
no,
a good point.
The reason why is because these things have been authorized by law. There's a process and procedure there. The Social Security Administration was created by Congress. There is a process and procedure by which they collect data, and they have a process and procedure by which they store data and who's allowed to access it. Elon Musk is definitionally an unelected bureaucrat who is now part of a shadow government who is going from agency to agency, cutting whatever he decides is necessary. In terms of there being transparency, all of this stuff was already publicly available. They've literally shuttered the USAID offices. What do you mean? They've literally frozen payments from the Treasury.
Yeah,
shuttered them as in they tried to give a mass recall saying all the employees needed to come home, which was stopped by a TRO, by a judge. And now a lot of these programs, there was just recently a report by the head of the Treasury guy who now is fired, who was saying that there's a whole bunch of food and stuff that we ship to other countries. It's just going to spoil because now we've cut off funding and money for it. All of these things have just been unilaterally cut by.
If you enjoy content like this, to make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Elon Musk and Trump without any authorization from Congress, despite the fact that Congress was the one that authorized the funds for these programs and authorized these offices and agencies. If you want to remove all of these things, that's fine. If you don't want $500,000 being spent for trans ballets in Nepal for atheists or whatever, that's fine. If you don't want it, then Congress has to defund it. That's the way that this process works. It's not up to the president unilaterally to decide what he likes or doesn't like. That's already been passed
hang on.
by the Congress.
Well, hang on.
It's not up to you.
That's actually, I was going to say, look, that's not actually correct. He's entitled to do this, and then there
he's
can be legal.
Absolutely not.
Well, hang on. Then there can be legal challenges, and Trump made it clear in the Oval Office yesterday he would accept what a judge said. Now, by contrast, I remember Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez when it came to the Texas ruling in a court by a judge about abortion medication, for example. She said that the Democrats should not accept what that judge had ruled. Right? So why is it one rule? Why is it one rule for Democrats that they can ignore a judge's order with impunity? But when President Trump says, if people want to challenge this, no problem, I would accept the ruling of the judge. Isn't that democracy?
What years was AOC the president of the United States?
What difference does that make?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because
well, he has to change the subject because he's completely wrong. That's... Dude, that was hilarious. And it's a great point brought up by Andrew Wilson and Piers Morgan there, that what Donald Trump is doing is democracy, is the exact thing that people like Destiny have been saying for the longest time, that he's a threat to, that he's trying to overthrow. That's exactly what he's carrying out right now. It's a great point made by Andrew Wilson and Piers Morgan there, and Destiny has nothing to say to that. He has no response. So he completely changes the subject and talks about something completely irrelevant. What year was AOC the president of the United States? Dude, what does that have to do with anything that was just asked of you? That was just asked to you. It doesn't make any sense, man. These people like Destiny, I've said it a million times, I'll say it again, they're so bad faith when it comes to these debates with people like Andrew Wilson and others.
She's not in the position to do these things. She can give the advice on it. If you wanted me to ask myself, like,
she's an elected lawmaker who doesn't want to obey the law.
A lawmaker. She's in a different branch of government. She's part of the legislature. We're not talking about the legislature. We're not talking about a random lawmaker right now. We're talking about the president of the United States doing things to intentionally contravene. You can't just say you could break the law.
President Biden did the same over student loans.
No, he absolutely didn't. When the Supreme Court shut him down in one thing, then he took a different avenue. It was not the same. President Biden did not ignore temporary restraining orders. It wasn't issued TROs to stop what he was doing with the loan forgiveness. It's a totally different thing.
Yeah,
to say that
this is
not the same. It's not the same process.
Hang on, Destiny. I just let you go.
And other people have said over and over. I'm still responding to Piers. Vance and others have made it clear over and over again. They've quoted the Andrew Jackson quote, and they've said, well, we should just resist the judiciary. It is not part of law and order. It's not part of checks and balances for the executive to say, well, I don't care what a judge says. We'll just do whatever, which is what they're currently doing. And a judge has already said they've done with the TRO that was placed on them having to do with freezing federal funding. So they've already broken with what the judges are telling them to some extent. And at the end of the day, there's no way to check and balance the executive if they're just going to do what they want to do. You have no checks and balances there. What are men in robes and lawmakers going to walk down and fight with the U.S. Marshals and the FBI? Like, it's not going to happen.
Andrew?
Yeah, right. Exactly. So this is an issue. What you have is an issue of authority. So Trump he's trying to expand the limits of his office as fast as possible, and I understand why. Last time he was there, they were trying to impeach him from basically day one, made up this phony Russian collusion nonsense. He comes in now, he has nothing to lose. He's going to expand his office as quickly as possible, try to move things as quickly as he possibly can. And most importantly, he doesn't trust the judicial branch. That's what he said himself in his various speeches. I don't trust them to give fair rulings. I don't trust that they're actually there in respect to actual law. He doesn't actually even believe that. So what he's doing is
and rightfully so. I mean, dude, that branch got abused to try and throw him in jail for no other reason other than that Joe Biden and the Democrats don't like him and didn't want to lose an election. So why would he ever trust any part of government that he doesn't run? Doesn't make any sense. If I'm in his position, and if we're being real, if anybody, right, if Andrew Wilson, if Destiny, if any of these people were in his position, they would be the same way. They wouldn't be very trusting of government and the judicial branch or any branch of government that he doesn't directly control, because they got abused to they tried to throw him in jail. They tried to take him out, if you know what I'm saying, multiple times. You know? So why the hell would he trust any branch of government? That would be stupid of him. That'd be super naive of him to do.
Hang on, my turn. So he's expanding it as quickly as he possibly can. But he did say that he would abide by the rulings of these judges. He just recently said this, and we don't know what's gonna come of that. Right now, he's expanding this office to try to figure out these audits, this type of thing. I don't see what he's actually done wrong. You're already panicking, but we haven't really had a chance to see what happens if he abides by these rulings, doesn't abide by these rulings.
Right.
We don't really know that yet.
Right.
Doge in and of itself is probably a wholly illegal agency. I don't think that Doge even exists. I don't think they have the legal capacity to even do what Trump wants them to do. Number one. Number two, bringing up the Russia collusion stuff is funny when the entire foundation for Hunter Biden and Burisma was entirely fabricated. That person's already been convicted by the FBI for lying about the origination for that. And three, Donald Trump was already found to have people who were working with him collude with Russia. Roger.
Yeah, it's all bad faith. It's true. It is a whataboutism, like Andrew Wilson just said. And also, even if Doge doesn't have the agency to be able to do what Donald Trump wants them to do, at the very least, they are still doing a service to the American public, to the American taxpayers, by exposing all of the money that we're wasting in other countries and within our own country, and the money that, you know, these corrupt politicians and people who work for these agencies are pocketing. You know, $15 million sending condoms to the Taliban. What even is that? What even is that? That's insane. Like, I can't believe that's not satire. Somebody must tell me in the chat, in the comments, that that's satire, please. There's no way that's real. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think about Andrew Wilson once again dominating Destiny in this debate about multiple different things, about Donald Trump, about Elon Musk, about all these different topics. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this whole Andrew Wilson versus Destiny debate here on Piers Morgan Uncensored.